Hi, welcome back to Joe Blogs. When you think of the Caribbean, you think of lovely, peaceful, relaxing times, chilling out, and everybody being very laid back. But not if you're talking about Haiti.
Haiti is spiraling. A wave of violence reaching a boiling point after a jailbreak in the country's biggest prison on Saturday. Prison authorities say the attack, carried out by armed gangs, led to the escape of a large number of the 4,000 prisoners held there. A second prison that holds another 1,400 inmates was also stormed. Saturday's siege came as a shock even to Haitians accustomed to living under the constant threat of violence, and is yet another example of how criminal gangs have gained more control of the country since the assassination of former President Jovenel Moïse in 2021.
So things are not going well in Haiti right now, and the country is on the verge of civil war. If you follow the channel, you'll know that I posted a video back in October, first looking at the situation in Haiti, because gangs were controlling around 80% of the capital of Port-au-Prince. However, what's happening right now is the start of a potential revolution. And the reason that this is happening now is that when the former president was assassinated, the current Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, took over control of the country, but he was only given until the 7th of February 2024 to organise a free and fair election to elect a new president. However, he hasn't done that, and the gangs who are now controlling the capital city are saying that they want him out and that they want to change what's going on because he was never elected to run the country. And the other catalyst for the outbreak of the current violence is that Ariel Henry recently travelled to Kenya, where he has signed a deal for Kenya to send over 1,000 policemen to help bring back control of the country. So the gangs in Haiti are concerned that military forces are due to arrive into the country shortly to start taking over all of their territory. So they've struck first. They've decided that they wanted to get their position sorted first. So what they've done is stormed two of the largest prisons in the capital city and released thousands of criminals. And obviously nobody knows where those criminals are. There is very little control going on right now. But this is only going to add further to the chaos that's happening right now in Haiti. So in today's video, I'll give you some background on Haiti. We'll have a look at how many people live there, where it's located, and why it's in such a dire situation. We'll then talk about the gangs that have taken control of the majority of the capital city. There is reportedly over 200 of these gangs, and they're all armed. We'll then have a look at what happened in the recent prison break and what's going on right now with regards to the start of this civil war. And then finally today, I'll wrap up with my summary as to what I think is likely to happen in Haiti over the course of the next 3 to 6 months, and whether or not this is going to have any impact on the global economy. But before we get started on all of that, once again, I'd like to say thank you so much to everyone that's supporting the channel. If you bought me a coffee or sent me a YouTube super thanks or signed up as a patron or a member, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support and it helps to keep me posting more videos on the channel.
Haiti is located on the island of Hispaniola, which is located in the Caribbean Sea and is actually the second largest island of the West Indies. Haiti is located on the western third of the island, and the Dominican Republic makes up the remaining 2/3. Cuba is located around 50 miles to the west of Haiti, and Jamaica is around 120 miles away. Haiti has a population of around 11.8 million people, and around 3 million of those are located in the capital city of Port-au-Prince. The country does not have any significant natural resources, and the main industry on the island is agriculture. Haiti is one of the poorest countries in the world, and in terms of GDP is currently ranked at 115 in the league table of countries. Officially, around 80% of the population are classified as living in absolute poverty. The unemployment rate is over 50%, and there is a high level of dollarization in the economy.
Gang problems worsened in Haiti after the 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. Large parts of the capital and the countryside have become lawless. It is believed about 80% of Port-au-Prince metropolitan area is controlled by some 200 gangs.
Haitian gangs frequently engage police in gun battles and profit from activities such as extortion and drug trafficking.
Routine gunfights and turf battles have left hundreds dead and thousands displaced.
They have grown in strength since the 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. The assassination created a power vacuum, with Henry governing on an interim basis since, with a pledge to hold elections once security is re-established.
The Haitian government and the United Nations have called for an international force to help the local police in its fight against the mobsters.
On Saturday night, armed groups attacked Haiti's largest prison.
We were asleep when we heard the sound of bullets. The cell barriers are broken. I'm the only one left in my cell.
How they managed to storm what should have been a heavily guarded building remains unanswered. But inside, most of the cells are empty. This prison held thousands of prisoners, some of the country's most dangerous criminals. A handful of inmates didn't flee, fearing for their lives, as gunfights raged around them.
It was a very difficult situation last night. The riot in the prison, our lives were at risk. What we did was shelter ourselves. There was a lot of shots. We were afraid for our lives.
Afraid of being killed in the crossfire, some inmates stayed in the complex, which this time last year held nearly 3,700 prisoners.
I don't know how many people have died. I know there are only 99 inmates left inside the prison.
The prison break came after days of mounting violence in the capital Port-au-Prince. Former police officer and gang leader Jimmy Cheretzier, also known as Barbecue, called for criminal groups to unite and overthrow the Prime Minister, Ariel Henry.
Every ghetto will be on the streets every day, and we have nothing to hide from the whole world. They all know that we have weapons. Not only do we mobilize to fight Ariel Henry, we also mobilize the people.
We asked the Haitian National Police and the military to take responsibility and arrest Ariel Henry. Once again, the population is not our enemy. The armed groups are not your enemy. Arrest Ariel Henry for the country's liberation.
Ariel Henry, who came to power after Moïse's assassination, has repeatedly postponed plans to hold elections, saying security in the country must first be re-established. The last vote took place in 2016 and the presidency remains vacant.
As the violence broke out, Henry was in Nairobi to sign a deal. The next step in bringing a UN-approved security force of 1,000 Kenyan police officers to the streets of Haiti. Since 2022, Haiti has requested international help to control the gang situation. In recent days, nearly 15,000 people have been forced to flee their homes, according to the UN.
We can't take it anymore. We have nowhere to go. We run with our belongings.
As an unknown number of prisoners remain on the run, Haiti's government has declared a state of emergency.
The government declares a state of emergency throughout the West Department for a renewable period of 72 hours, and in order to re-establish order and take the appropriate measures to regain control of the situation, declares a curfew throughout this territory between 6 p.m. and 5 a.m.
So what's the summary and conclusion today? Well, I wanted to post this video because the potential outbreak of a formal civil war is big news in any country. But when we're talking about a country that is located relatively close to Florida and is in the Caribbean and is actually on the same island as the Dominican Republic, I think this is really big news because this is relatively close to home. And what we've seen in Haiti over the last 3 or 4 years is a complete breakdown of law and order. When the president was assassinated, he wasn't replaced, so nobody stepped up. Nobody wanted to be put into that position. Everybody was a little bit afraid. And what we've seen is a general breakdown of law and order. The police have lost control of the capital city. And the gangs, who are heavily armed, as you saw in the video, lots of these people have machine guns and really heavy artillery. They've taken control of the streets. And that's obviously led to a virtual state of anarchy in Haiti over the last 3 years. But what we've got happening right now is everything coming to a head, because the Prime Minister Ariel Henry has been calling for overseas assistance for a number of years. He's wanted a multi-country task force to be put together to send in the troops to try to sort out all of these gangs. And this did happen previously in Haiti, Brazil had some forces that they put into the country around 10 years ago, and it did bring an element of calm. However, those Brazilian forces have left, and that's what the Haiti authorities want to be replaced. They want somebody else to come in and provide a peacekeeping force. But obviously, from the overseas countries' point of view, there's very little upside in this, because it's likely if you send people in, whether it's militia or army or just police forces, and they've got guns, then there's likely to be some gunfights. The gangs will not want to relinquish control. They're not just going to simply hand over all of their weapons and walk away from everything that they've built up over the last 10 or 20 years, and particularly over the last few years. So there will be lots of bloodshed, and it's likely that the forces that are sent in will lose people. So no country really wants to send lots of their people into Haiti for them to come back in body bags. And equally, there's likely to be a lot of collateral damage. The leader of the civil rebellion, the guy called Barbecue, who's actually called that apparently because his mother used to cook chicken on the streets of Haiti, not because he likes setting fire to people. He's a former policeman, and he recently issued a warning to the people of Haiti, telling them not to send their children to school, not to go to work, and to stay home to make sure that they're not caught in any crossfire. So the gangs are ready for some sort of armed conflict. They're calling for a free and fair election to be established to put a new president in charge. But the problem with that is that there are very few candidates who want to stand for that position. And there is a possibility that the gangs could put forward their own candidate who would then be voted as president, which would formally set in stone the current situation where the gangs are running everything in the streets. So in terms of what's likely to happen over the next few months, Kenya has now signed this agreement with Ariel Henry. They're going to send 1,000 people, some troops, into Haiti, and they're hoping that that's going to calm everything down and bring law and order back to the streets. But I think the problem we've got, as we've just discussed, is that the gangs are not going to be compliant with that concept. They're not going to roll over and simply let the Kenyan police force take control. And it's likely that we will see gunfights and shootouts. And I think the interesting point that will be tested very quickly in this situation is whether Kenya is fully committed to supporting everything that Haiti needs in order to bring control back to the streets, because it's likely that they will need more than 1,000 people to get control of everything that's happening. And the gangs will be ready. They know those streets. They know them inside out, and they've got a lot of people with guns all around the place. So this is going to be a horrible situation for all of those Kenyans to come into. And it'll be really interesting to see what does happen and whether or not Kenya is committed or whether they withdraw their initial 1,000 people when some of them start dying. And if that does happen, then obviously the streets of Haiti will be complete anarchy. There will be no way anybody will be able to regain control. And then I think what will need to happen is there'll need to be a genuine multi-country task force put together. But as we discussed earlier, there's not really much in it in terms of a vested interest. Obviously, in terms of the humanitarian aspect, there are lots of people living in Haiti who've been living in abject poverty for a long period of time, but they're now having to leave their homes and live on the streets to avoid all of the violence that's happening in the city centre itself. But there's obviously a big difference between sending in humanitarian aid to try and help people to survive, giving them food and water, and sending in an armed task force who are going to fight all of the gangs head on. And I think that will be a big ask for countries like the USA to sign off on that, because you're guaranteeing that some of those people won't come back, and probably some innocent people on the streets of Haiti are likely to lose their lives in the crossfire when that does happen. So the overall summary of today's video is that the position in Haiti has been bad for a long period of time. The last 3 or 4 years has seen anarchy on the streets of Haiti. And that's now coming to a head because the gangs are concerned that an international task force is going to come in to try to take over control. So they've struck first. They've broken into these 2 prisons and released more prisoners, potentially who will then work with them. They'll give them weapons and they can act on their side. They're ready for whatever's going to happen. And the big question is whether or not Kenya is prepared to send in 1,000 or more troops who are armed to the teeth to take these gangs on head to head, or if they decide not to do that, that they decide that the safest thing isn't to send those people into Haiti. And if that does happen, then the anarchy that we're seeing on the streets of Haiti right now will continue for the foreseeable future. So I'll keep you posted as soon as there's any material developments on this story. Hopefully you found today's episode useful, informative and thought-provoking. If you've liked what I've said, then please give me a thumbs up. Thank you for watching this video all the way through to the end, and here's something to put a smile on your face.